Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session from the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and before we begin, we need to run through our obligatory risk disclosure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. So just want to remind everyone before we provide our pre-market review here that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, as partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital, money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle, should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we'll turn our attention to the our financial portal, okay, and see what news we have today that could impact the markets here. Okay, so go ahead and turn our attention to the news here. Okay, so you can see here that relatively light in the way of news here. We got IEA monthly report. Okay, and then we have here at was that not four, but earlier this morning. Okay, at 4 a.m. Okay, and then we have Fed member Goolsbee speaking here later today at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we have Trump's trade advisor, Navarro, speaking at pretty much after the close here. So probably does not have much in the way of impact on us today. Okay. So I would say relatively light day in with respect to news. Okay. So, I mean, looking ahead for the coming week here, see, I would say, was it Tuesday? We have the CPI coming in, core CPI coming in that could impact markets. And then we have the industrial production month over month coming in on the 16th. And then we have the jobless claims, retail sales, U.S. business inventories month over month coming in later in the week. Okay, so to close out the week, I would say that again the news is relatively light and does not appear that there's anything in the news front that should necessarily impact us in the markets today. But we always need to be on guard for any sort of geopolitical event that could potentially impact us on the markets here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and turn our attention now to the markets. Okay. We're going to go ahead and open up our platform here, and we're going to go ahead and start off with our gold market here. So we'll get my chart set up here, and then I'll share my screen. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and turn our attention to our charts. Okay, so here we are. We have a chart of gold before you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with the daily chart here as we normally do. And again, just asking ourselves the question, what is the market trying to accomplish? Well, the market of late has been quite in range. Okay, you can see that we are seeing a lot in the way of overlapping price action. Okay. And then I would say that of late, you can see that while we see overlapping price action, okay, we are seeing something in the way of an ascending pattern here, right? You can see that if I draw this trend line, that this trend line has been respected on the way up, okay, and that what we're forming appears to be some sort of ascending wedge pattern, okay, ascending wedge pattern, indicating that possibly that we are kind of driving to some sort of higher price in this market. Okay, so we're looking at the volume delta here. Volume delta is also appears to be supportive of a continuation move to the upside. You can see that price continues to hold this lower trend line. And so there is the expectation that maybe there is a bigger move in store in the gold market. Okay. But for now, over the last, last few days here, you can see that we've made a higher high and a higher low. Okay. So indicating that we might be coming into a potential bullish trend here. Okay. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Okay. Again, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance for a moment here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and turn this off here for a moment. Okay. So you can see in the lower time frame chart, we're seeing maybe more of an indication of consolidation here. I see that, we can probably draw something in the way of some sort of symmetrical kind of wedge pattern here. And if you look at it on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're seeing a series of lower lows. Okay, right. So if we start off with this for this swing here over here on the left hand side, you can see that we're making lower lows and lower highs. Okay, this swing. And again, we managed to get above, right? We managed to get above this level, but not able to extend until before we found some sellers here. Okay, so in this particular case, again, I'm kind of looking at drawing some sort of pattern that looks something like that. Okay, so you can see that we are respecting the upper trend line and we are respecting the lower trend line. And again, at some point, this area that we've drawn here, this consolidation pattern, the symmetrical that's been generated here, is going to produce some sort of move. Okay. Right now, I would say that we are reacting a bit away from the upper trend line. We did establish a bearish engulfing candle. So it appears that we are looking to potentially come back and retest the lower edge of this pattern here. Okay. So on the 4-hour chart, I'm seeing, I would say, more in the way of maybe bearish price action. Okay, of late. Okay, lower lows, lower highs. Okay, and it does appear that maybe we will come back and retest this 3330 level in the gold market, looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, let's go ahead now and move into the 30-minute chart. Okay, now we're going to kind of focus our attention. We're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at, let's see, this is, I think, indicating the opening range. Let's double confirm that, but I believe so. Opening range here. Let's see. So this should be modified for the gold market to be earlier. Okay, click OK. All right, so you can see here that we have yet to break and close in either direction. Okay, as part of the kind of opening range. Okay, the 15-minute opening range. We made Thursday. Oops, let's close this out here. No wonder. Okay. this should have already created something here. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure why I'm not getting anything on the right here. This should give us an indication of the opening range. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile here. We're going to go ahead and highlight the range here, okay, to the close of the session right about here, okay. And you can see that price is currently well above, okay, well above um, uh, our range from yesterday. Okay, so this is indicating that there is a fair amount of interest. Okay, fair amount of interest to the bullish side in this market. All right, so I probably need to come back to this 4-hour chart because I think I was looking at an abbreviated session here. Yeah, so you can see here we actually broke above. I was had drawn an earlier channel that so we actually broke above this trend line, okay, that we had drawn earlier, right? If you recall, we were drawing this symmetrical pattern here, and I was kind of expecting maybe price to react and continue to the downside. Okay, so I was in some sort of replay mode, and you can see here while we got this bearish candle, we've now over the course of the overnight session into the London session, you can see that price is now well above this trend line. So we've made a new high in this market, higher high and higher low. Okay, so coming back to the 30-minute chart here, okay, so you can see that now price is above value here, right? This is our value range from yesterday. It's above value. We see that price is above our VWAP. I'm going to go ahead and now open up initial balance. Okay, so you can see that price is also creating a relatively normal initial balance range, okay, to the upside. And we're going to go ahead and open up our anchored VWAP for London, and you'll see that London is also seems to be supportive of continuation price move to the upside. Okay, so headed into the session, okay, I would say that certainly based on the 4-hour and the 30-minute chart, it does appear that we are in some sort of bullish swing here. And then I'm kind of looking to the left here to see if there's anything that stands in the way. We'll drop back down to this 4-hour chart here and see if there's something that stands in the way of this current move. All right, so we're going to go ahead and actually turn this off here. And we're going to turn off initial balance. And you can see that we've quickly come into an area, right, where we've seen sellers in the past. So it's going to be of interest here if we do manage to close above this area here, right? So again, this is now we've reached an area of some sort of resistance, some sort of supply. Now the question is going to becomes is our market participants on the sell side going to step back inside this market? Okay, we are coming into an area where we could see some resistance in price. All right, this around this 33, let's say 33.69 up to maybe 33.70, 33.80 level. Okay, this does appear to be an area of some potential resistance. So while we are in some sort of bullish swing, we have to respect or have to acknowledge the fact that we are coming into an area of some resistance to price. Okay, that could potentially cause price to maybe pull back here a bit. Okay, now if we do manage to close above this, we would make a newer high, and then this area here around 33.80 would be supportive and maybe allow us to maybe get back to the 3400 level. Okay, that's kind of the next logical area of some resistance here. Okay, all right. So so that's kind of what I have for the gold market. As you can see here, we do appear to be in some sort of bullish swing, coming into an area of some resistance. So while the market continues to be, or market is on the short time frame bullish, okay, I have to again acknowledge the fact that we are coming into an area of resistance, okay, that could provide maybe a little bit of a pullback, okay, a little bit of a pullback in price before we make our maybe potential next leg higher. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing right now in the gold market. Okay, we'll pause here to see if there's any questions. Okay, if there's any questions. If not, we'll go ahead. I'll give maybe a little 10-second count here because I know there is a little delay before you hear what I just said. Okay, to see if there's anyone here who has a question. If not, we'll go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Okay, we're going to go ahead and again similar review here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start off with the daily chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove our drawings here, and so we're gonna again taking a look at the set of candles. Again, we haven't really made too much strides, honestly. Okay, and retracing much of this swing. We've kind of been building up some buying, building up some buying, building up some buying. We closed the session yesterday with a bearish candle, and now we have an inside day. Okay, so the question now becomes: is this market going to be able to make a new high? Is this market going to be able to get above 68.55? I guess to continue the recent price action to the upside. Otherwise, what this looks like really is just a retracement of this swing, and then this could potentially lead to lower prices. Okay, so again, we closed the session yesterday, wiping out some hopeful buyers here, and now today we have some a kind of an inside day. Price is open inside this candle, and looking maybe to recoup maybe this area here. So okay, so daily chart I would say continues to look somewhat bearish. Okay, while we are getting higher highs and higher lows, this swing here is kind of giving me pause here as to really embrace the longs, right? So until we can really get above this 78 level, we run the risk of sellers stepping in anywhere in this area. Okay, anywhere in this area could cause sellers to step back in and drive price lower. All right, let's move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Okay, again, we were seeing we were seeing a bit in the daily. We seem to be following this trend line here to the upside. Okay, so we've come down, found some buyers. Okay, rallied, come down, found some buyers, rallied again, come down, found some buyers, and now we're developing a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, to the upside. Now, we do see that this is not the most perfect bullish candle that we could see, right? We are seeing a little bit of a wick here up on the top, indicating that the sellers are still very much present in this market. Now, assuming that this bullish candle holds, it gives us, I guess, a view that we could potentially come back to revisit this area above here, a 68 level. Okay, this is the last kind of location where I see some sellers. So given this bullish candle, it does not appear unlikely that we could come back and maybe potentially retest the conviction. Okay, retest the conviction of these sellers by rallying price back to this level around 68. 68 is going to be a pivotal level for the current buyers to be able to get above if they have any hope of seeing price move higher. Okay, so that's kind of the next logical area where we could potentially see some sellers. Okay, moving down to the 30-minute chart, you can see that price is above. We found again some level of support here around the 66.60 level. We're going to mark that area in green. Okay, you can see that we've come down to this level not once, but twice. Okay, so creating kind of a little bit of a W pattern here, double bottom. And now we've broken some structure here to the upside. And it appears that this area now is serving as a little bit of support here around 67.16. Okay, as long as price remains above this 67.16, around above this balance zone, then if I do my little Fibonacci extension analysis here, if I use this most recent swing as kind of my guide, well, there it is, right? You can see our 100% extension leads us right inside this this resistance area above at around 68.27. Okay. Let's go ahead now and open up our fixed range volume profile just to get a sense of where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. So we're going to go ahead and open with the open here. Okay, drag this across to the close here. All right, so you can see that price is just above, right, value from yesterday. Again, this area, I'm maybe going to go ahead and draw a little box here. Okay, so this area right here does appear to be a supportive area. Okay, so assuming that we can hold above this level, right, this could lead to price action higher. Okay, so we are just getting the open of this market with this bar here. It's developing a bullish bar. So again, we're going to go ahead and open up initial balance here. Although it is the first, we're just opening the session here. Let's see. Okay, it seems to have gotten rid of the initial balance range. Let's go ahead and add it back. Okay, so initial balance is the one that I use here is the CZOA. So I just modify just a couple of things on this, and that is I'd like to establish my range in yellow, and I'm really not interested in the fill here. Yeah, I'm really not interested in the fill, and I am interested in understanding where my 50, 100, and 200% extension of this range is. Okay, so you can see that the 200%, given the current bullish candle here, or current range that we're seeing, leads us up to the 200% extension, leads us up to the 68, 67, 84 level. Okay, so as I head into the session, I am seeing that we are maybe seeing some bullish price action. The fact that price is above value is giving, I would say, the bulls or the longs some hope that for continuation move to the upside. We're going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this discussion here. And let's see, right about there, okay, is our start of London. You can see that we are seeing price above London session. Okay, so there's, I would say, a fair amount of longs in this market, maybe on the longer time frame. Okay, we are coming back down to this area here. I would say it would need to be. I would say this is a relatively important level for the bulls to hold, the 67.19, maybe as low as 67. Okay, I would not want to see price get too much lower than 67 if price is going to continue higher in this market. Okay, so we'll just have to wait. For myself, I'll be waiting for this initial balance range here to establish. Wait for price to decide which side of the initial balance range do the participants want to take this market, and decide from there as to what executions I'm willing to take in this market. Right now, given the current price location, it does appear that the market wants to head higher. And I have this 67.90, 68 as kind of some areas as targets for price. Okay. All right. Excuse me. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and again start off with the daily chart just to kind of provide us daily context as to what the market is trying to accomplish. And you can see here, right, over the last series of candles here, right, we seem to be tiring a bit. Okay. The market seems to be a bit on the right. And the reason I say that is that we're getting more in the way of overlapping candles here. Okay. We seem to be forming some sort of rounded top here. Okay. So the question now becomes, is this going to be an indication of price to potentially retrace? Okay. I'm seeing price starting to slow, okay, to the upside. While we do remain in a bullish trend, we are seeing maybe a little bit in the way of a slowdown in momentum. Let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. Okay. You can see that we are kind of on the lower end of this range. Okay. You can see that we are seeing a little bit. I'll go ahead and draw this area here again around this 23,000 level. Okay. That keeps repeating itself to me here. This area here does appear to be an area of some sort of resistance. So we're going to go ahead and mark that in supply. Okay. You can see that price has come into this area. Okay. Has come into this area and found some sellers. Price is now unable or hasn't been able to get back inside or above this area. Right. So right now it appears on the 4-hour chart that we are inside some sort of bearish structure in an area where again we are kind of back into support. Okay. So this is would be a demand zone. I'm going to go ahead and color that in green. Okay. So it appears that maybe we are entering in some sort of range price action. Okay. We are, I would say, resistant at around, say, 23,000, let's call it 100, and supportive around 23,000, let's call it 800. Okay. So that's kind of the range that we've been in of late in the NASDAQ. Okay. So we've come into a supportive area in an area where we are seeing a little bit in the way of bearish structure here. Okay. Hey, David. All right. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. We're gonna go ahead to look at the start of yesterday's session here. Okay, right about, let's see here. Hey, Anthewell, good morning. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the start of the session here into the close of the session right about here. Okay, so here we are. So you can see, again, similar to what we were seeing on the 4-hour chart, it seems that we've entered in some sort of bearish structure in this market. Good morning, George. Okay. It seems that we've entered in some sort of bearish structure in this market. Okay. So let me get my arrow here. Okay. So we had a move lower. Okay. Unable to create a new high, made a lower low or lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, potentially another lower low here. Okay. So right now it appears that we are in some sort of bearish structure. I am going to draw this this trend line based off of these two candles here. Okay. And that'll kind of serve as maybe an area. Maybe possibly we rally into the upper end of this before we see anything in the way of a down move. Okay. But nonetheless, it does appear that we are in some sort of bearish structure at the moment in the Nasdaq. Okay, so I would say that this 22,860 level is a relatively important level. You can see that price has come into this level not just once, twice, a third time, and now we're at this a fourth time, and we were not really able to make any really serious progress to the upside before we found some sellers. Question now becomes, are we going to continue to hold below VWAP? Okay. And if so, then we're probably in for a potential move to the downside. Okay. That's kind of what I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing a kind of a staircase here to the downside up against a prior area of support that's been supportive a number of times. Okay. All right. We're still kind of almost 20 minutes away from the open of the session here, so no initial balance. So we're going to go ahead and open up our anchor VWAP just to get a sense for what London has to say about all this. And London is also kind of mixed. We're above the London session here. Okay, so we did get a little bit of a reaction here away from this 22,860 level. I'm going to go ahead and draw in a little bit of a box here because I am seeing a little bit of demand that maybe is being developed here on the lower end, but I'm really kind of hesitant to support the longs until I'm able to break some structure here to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw in the kind of the line that I'm going to be watching here. Okay, I'm basically the high here. I'm going to go ahead and draw in that line. And I would, if I'm going to support any sort of long trade in this market, I do want to see price get above, let's say this was that 22,923.25, somewhere in that range. Okay. If we are going to support a long, we need to make a new high, right? We have a relatively strong bullish candle here. We did manage to get above structure, but only to find some sellers. Now the question becomes now, do they have enough participants to drive price higher? And I would say that this 22,960 level or 970 level is also kind of another level of resistance. Okay, so headed into the session, I understand that I am in some sort of bearish structure. I am getting some sort of reaction off of some demand zone. In order for me to really begin to maybe embrace a long that would maybe take me back up to this 22,980 level, I really need to see price get above 22,923. Okay, and then potentially that would open up the door for maybe a move back to at least this trend line above. Okay, so headed into the session, I would say that maybe I remain, I would say, bearish. Okay. In this market, I am seeing that there's structure here to the downside. I am starting to see some evidence here that maybe we found maybe at least a temporary bottom, but I still have not seen enough price action to really embrace the longs here 100%. Okay. I haven't seen price get above VWAP, and that's kind of a precursor for me to really embrace that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead, and unless there's any questions that people have on this market, we're going to go ahead now and take a look at the ES, okay, which probably is going to give us maybe some of the same information here, but at different prices. Here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily chart and ask ourselves the question, okay? Ask ourselves the question, what is the market trying to accomplish? Okay, well, when we were talking about the Nasdaq, right, we were seeing a fair amount of price action that was overlapping, right? We see overlapping price action in the S&P as well, right? One candle higher, one candle lower, one candle not quite higher, a couple candles getting us. So basically range, right? We are in some sort of range for the past 5 days. Okay. Now the question becomes, is this range, okay, is this range going to lead us to some sort of move to the downside? Okay. Well, if you believe what you're seeing here with this developing bearish candle, Well, that's kind of, it seems that's kind of what we're kind of preparing to develop. But we've been down this path before, right? We've seen this candle before not lead us into anything significant to the downside, right? We've kind of, I guess, maybe kind of bought the dip, so to speak. Okay, right? So the question now becomes: is this bullish candle, which we won't know for sure until the end of the session, is it going to be able to break some structure here to the downside? I would say that it is relatively important for the bulls to hold above 62,055. Okay. If it's unable to hold above 62,055, then we could be in the beginnings of maybe a swing lower in this market where we could maybe get as low as certainly 6,100. Okay. Moving into the 4-hour chart. For our chart, again, you can see that we are in some sort of range, right? We continue to be in some sort of range in this in this market. You can see that we've created a series of bearish candles to the downside. We've broken some structure here. We've broken some structure here to the downside. Again, continuing to give us evidence that maybe the path of least resistance is lower. Okay. Now we are coming into an area of some support here. Okay, so this is an area, I've already kind of drawn this area here around 6250. Let's see here, 6250. Okay, 6250 does appear to be a supportive area. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a little bit of a demand area here. Okay, you see that we've kind of, price has come down this level, reacted away from it, held it, and rallied. Now the question becomes, if we come back to this level again, are we going to find the same buyers that drove price higher? Okay, or have we exhausted the buyers to the upside, because while they made a new high, they were not able to sustain that high above 63.30. Okay, and sellers have kind of stepped back into this market to some degree. Okay, moving into the 30-minute chart. Okay, taking a look at the 30-minute chart here. Okay, so you can see that we are in some sort of bearish structure in this market, similar to what we were seeing in the NASDAQ. You can see that price is below our VWAP. We're creating some lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Okay, so the structure, again, I'm going to draw a little bit of a trend line here, similar to what we did here in the NASDAQ. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and extend this area to something like this. Okay, now is this area going to continue to be resistant? If so, then the expectation is that we maybe are in store for maybe another leg to the downside. Okay, opening up the fixed range volume profile here just to get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's pricing. We're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile for the start of the session into the close of the session. Okay, there you are. Okay, so you can see that price is well below value from yesterday. Okay, so is indications of maybe a continuation move to the downside. Okay, right? Price is below value. People are willing to pay a premium to be part of a down move. Right? So we are seeing price action to indicate that maybe we are in for maybe a lower move in this market. Right? Now, I will say this, okay? I will say that we've created a little bit of a demand zone here. Price has not been able to get back inside. We have not made a newer low. So I don't know if this area is going to be an area where buyers step back into this market. They have stepped back into this market in the past, right? And we saw them again step into this market, but they haven't really been able to rally price to break any sort of structure to the upside. Okay, if anything, what we're seeing is continued move to the downside. We're seeing price structure show us that there's maybe some support for a continued move to the downside. I'm going to go ahead and open up my see if this is here. This is my session volume profile here. I'll turn that off. I maybe wanted to draw maybe my visible range volume profile here on the right. Range volume profile. This one is kind of my dynamic. I'm going to adjust this here a little bit here. My style is going to be, I'm not really interested in understanding what kind of volume is in my value range. I'm just interested in what my value zone is and what my, so you can see, one last thing I want to do here. I'm just going to mark this the outside of value in gray. Okay, there we are. Okay, so you can see, right, that we are in some sort of lower end of value, okay, based on the sort of the range of charts here. Okay, so we are kind of in the lower end of value, kind of this dynamic volume profile that I've drawn here on the right hand side. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Shark Trends. All right. So again, you can see that we remain in bearish structure. We are in the sort of the lower end of value here. Okay. We are in sort of this somewhat out of balance range. And it does appear that maybe the path of least resistance is for price to continue to move lower. But again, we need to see a newer low. We need to see a low to kind of, I guess, corroborate that view. Okay. All right. So headed into the markets, I would say headed into this session for the ES, I would say that the path, as long as we remain below this trend line, I would say that the path of least resistance continues to be to the downside. If we start to get price structure to break above this trend line, maybe break above this VWAP, then maybe we start to think about maybe some bullish price action. Okay. But right now, I would say entering into the market, I would say that I'm looking maybe for price to continue lower. Okay. Now, before we do a full kind of review of all the markets, just as a summary, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Dow quickly, and then we'll come back and do a final review of the market since we do have some time today. This was kind of a trade that I took earlier, sort of an opening range breakout trade that I'll be creating a video for here shortly. This is kind of a part of an opening range breakout trade that I took a part in the Dow yesterday. Okay. And let's take a look at the daily here. Okay. Again, similar to what we're seeing in the other markets, other equity markets, we're starting to see some price action to indicate that maybe we are in some structure that could lead us to maybe lower pricing. I am seeing a little bit of a supply zone above here. Okay, that could offer us an area of a continued resistance to maybe potentially drive price lower. Now, we are starting to break some structure here to the upside. I would say that this 44,500 level, I would say, is relatively important for the bulls to hold. Okay, if they have any chance of continuing to hold any sort of bullish kind of structure in this market. Okay, because we are starting to see some evidence that could cause price to continue lower. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Okay, you can see that maybe we are in a little bit of a range. This level that I had drawn in green has this 44,000. What is that? 480 level does appear to be an area of some level of support. This was an area that was supportive in the past here. Okay, supportive in the past, and now has been respected. Okay, respected as prices remain in this range. Okay, we are kind of a little bit range bound in this market at the moment. Looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart here, again, you can see that we, similar to the other equity markets, right? This looks like almost an exact replica here. Okay, we are beginning to see structure to indicate that maybe price is going to continue lower, right? Price is below our VWAP. Price is making lower lows and lower highs. Looking to the left, we are coming into an area here. Okay, again, this is an area that I'd like to draw in maybe as a demand area now. Okay, this area right here, I think is relatively important for the bulls to hold if they have any kind of chance to kind of keep the market from continuing to move lower. Now, for those pattern followers here, I do see a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern here. Okay, this is my head. This could be my right shoulder. Okay. And this maybe being my left shoulder here. I don't know if I actually noticed that in the other equity markets here, left shoulder. Okay. So a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern that's being developed here. So I don't know if that's going to be, if this is our neckline, that could, if I take a measure here from the top of the head down to the bottom of the neck, well, this could lead us potentially, okay, down another swing here down to this 44,150 level. Okay, assuming that we can break below. But I've seen these patterns work out in a way that where we kind of push lower, only to reverse. So while I am seeing this pattern that often leads to a move to the downside, we have to kind of be cognizant of the fact that it's also can be used as an area where we kind of peak below and then drive price higher. Okay. All right. So I would say again, similar to the other equity markets, I would say that we are in sort of a bearish kind of trend. Have come into an area of demand that could maybe potentially offer us a little bit of a move higher, but I think there's some overhead structure that could cause price to continue lower. Okay. So let's go ahead now, and with the last 5 minutes here, let's do one final pass across all the markets, kind of summarizing our kind of view of these markets here. So again, I'm going to go ahead and open up my initial balance range here for the gold. Okay, so you can see that we are relatively in a relatively narrow range here. Gold does appear to be in some sort of bullish price action. Okay, that stands to reason here, right? And it's aligned with what we're seeing in the equities, right? Generally, what we see in the gold is the gold's generally bullish when the equities are looking bearish. So we are in some sort of bullish structure in this market. We are coming into some areas of resistance here to the left-hand side that could cause price to stall here. Okay. So what I would be looking for in this market is for the markets to maybe come back down to VWAP, okay, or some other area here, maybe IB low, and that could offer me a location for a continuation move to the upside. So gold does appear to be heading into the session bullish. Looking at the crude oil market, okay, crude oil market also showing some signs of bullish price action here, okay. So you can see that price managed to break above some structure here. And now we've developed somewhat of a bullish candle here on the 30-minute chart. Okay. So we're starting to see some price action that would indicate that maybe crude oil is also looking to move to the upside. We're seeing here on the candles a volume delta here. Okay. We're seeing volume coming into this market, and it is aligned with the general price direction. So again, similar to the gold market, I would say that the market crude oil market is moving from range to potentially bullish. Okay, looking at the NASDAQ. Okay, one last time. Okay, again, looking at NASDAQ, I would say that we remain in bearish structure to the downside. I would say that this 22,860 level is a relatively important level for the bulls to hold. If they are unable to hold the 22,860 level, that could open up the door for maybe a continuation move here to the downside. Okay, so I would say that I'm headed into the session. I would say that I am bearish. Okay, and that I would be looking maybe for an area above me to potentially sell some strength. Okay, so NASDAQ, I would say bearish. Okay, we are again seeing some indications that maybe this 860 level is going to provide some support, but I need to see price continue to advance, continue to break structure. And I would say that until it breaks above this 970 level, 22,970 level, that we are either in some sort of range or that this area is going to offer us maybe a continuation move to the downside. Okay. All right. Looking at the ES just quickly, again, these are all looking the same to me. Again, we have come into an area of maybe some minor support here. I would say more significant support down below here, but we do remain in bearish structure here to the downside. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of evidence that maybe we are going to be supportive here. That could lead maybe to a move back to VWAP, but really I need to see price to get above VWAP to really change my view. We have a VWAP that's sloping to the downside. So for me, structure remains lower. And then finally, yeah, the Dow, again, I would say probably the similar to what we were seeing. Dow does appear to be the weakest of the three. Okay, we're seeing a developing bearish candle here with about a minute to go here. So I would say, yeah, across all the equities, I would say that we are bearish, and we're just getting the open of the session here. So we'll have to see how we hold this level here. If we do manage to hold this level and break above VWAP, then maybe we can turn this market from maybe more of a bearish market to a market that wants to maybe move a repair and move higher. Okay, all right. I think that's all I have for me before I lose my voice. So again, guys, don't hesitate to hit the likes and subscribes. Don't hesitate to hit the bell, the notification bell, to be alerted of future sessions like this going forward. And let's close out the week. If you've had a good week, let's close out the week well. Okay. If you've had a good day, if you've had a good week, don't let Friday be your kind of give back Friday. Okay. Make sure that you go into the weekend with some profits. Okay. And as we close this session, as we close all sessions, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys. And we'll talk again next week.